All right, so welcome to the second video on this new channel. But this is the first time this is my big face reveal. So the purposes of this video are two things. I'm going to give a very short, brief introduction to who I am for those people who are new, and then I'm going to kind of lay out uh, what my goal for this channel is, why I'm doing it, and yeah. So we'll get started that way. My name is Eric. And who am I? Jeez. Long story short, I've been a lot of things, but uh, more recently, I guess I'm what you would call an incredibly accurate channel. Some people would call me just a simple intuitive. I have varying ideas and thoughts and theories on what that all entails. What I will simply say is that I don't know exactly how it works. Nobody really knows how it works, how we get our intuition, what that little voice in the back of our head is. Anybody that tells you that they know exactly what it is, they're just making it up. We don't know. None of us know. It might be different for every single one of us. So, to give you an example of what I mean, in the sports world, I run a moderately successful hockey YouTube channel. In the sports world, my name is Jaws because I'm a huge fan of the movie Jaws. And my fans and friends and subscribers have come to know me as Jaws Stradamus because I continually will guess the scores right. I will guess trades. I will get a lot of things right that I really should have no business knowing. And they're all amazed at how did you know? How do you know? How do you keep guessing all these things right? And as you can imagine, in the sports world, I can't exactly say, well, my guides told me so, or it doesn't really work with that situation. And my theory on guides anyway is this. I believe that when we come here to this planet, we we're all one big ball of energy, okay? And but as an individual, we were our own separate ball of energy, light, whatever you want to call it. I believe that when we come here, part of that energy gets into this body, it gets into the meat suit, and the other half is somewhere else. I don't know. But what I believe is that that little voice in the back of our head, that little gnawing in our gut, that thing that we all do when we say, I knew that. I had a feeling about that. We all have intuition. The only difference between myself and others is that I've been put through certain circumstances in life where I had to depend on that intuition, and I've developed it and developed it and then been given the keys, so to speak, to being able to connect and communicate with that other half of me that I left behind somewhere else. That's my theory on it. Now, that doesn't mean anybody else's theory is wrong. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it might be different for everybody else. What I will say is that anybody that says, I know that this is exactly how it works, it's just not possible. All we have is theory in that regard. So all right. So the purposes of this channel, the reason why I started this channel, this has been gnawing at me for some time now. Some of you will know this. Anybody new won't know this. I've had a couple of other channels uh, that were moderately unsuccessful. We'll call it that, moderately unsuccessful. And I could never quite find the balance between whatever it is that the spiritual community wants from somebody who does readings and channels and has intuition, and the other half of the world that just all they want to talk about is world events and politics, and I could never really bridge the gap in between people that wanted help on an individual basis and people that just wanted to know, am I going to be able to feed my kids and etc. So I never really found a real good voice in the in between there. And so I stopped doing that for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. It might have been a year, it might be more than a year since I've done anything. And it's been gnawing at me, gnawing at me, gnawing at me. I enjoy doing my sports videos, but at the same time, I'm very much playing a character in that world. I'm very much giving people the version of me that they want to see, and I can't really be. There's parts of me I can genuinely be who I am, and then there's other parts that I have to just continue to hide because, oil and water tend to not mix. So, purpose of this channel is I feel like I've laid off long enough. And if you watched any of the videos that I used to put out, it was very upfront and very what some people would call based about, a lot of the things that we have in our a lot of the things, the problems that we have in our own individual lives are our own making. We are our own worst enemies. And many times it's simply us stopping ourselves. And but we all are looking for two things. Most people are looking for two things. They're looking for somebody to blame and they're looking for somebody to save them. And in many ways, that's how religion is used to control people. And I've seen in the spiritual world where spiritual community, I should say, where there's theories abound of what's happening, what's going on, and etc. But overwhelmingly, the majority of them all lead down this road to something from the outside coming to save us or me or you. Most of the theories involve something from the outside, whether it be a spirit or aliens. Reptilians are going to come up from the ground. There's many theories around, and for the most part, they all center around this is the problem, these are the things that are at fault, and this is what's going to save us. And my theory has consistently been, my message has consistently been that we are not going to be saved by any entity, by any energy. We are here, we chose to be here, and if we want to be saved, in parentheses, so to speak, we will have to do that on our own, each individual timeline. Now, I guess the thing that really got me to the point to do this channel and to just start putting myself back out there again, is that my entire life I've always been very adept. The intuition has always been very clear, where I can see what's coming, and that has served me very well in business. Even when I didn't realize I was using my intuition, I would make decisions that 3 months later something would happen that I would say, oh wow, it's a good thing I made that choice. It's a good thing I listened to my gut. I listened to my intuition. So I've always been very adept at seeing what is coming around the corner and seeing how what we are experiencing here. So how the media, how the movies, how the TV, how the sports, how what we're intaking and what we're interacting with. I'm very adept at seeing far ahead to be able to say, I feel that this certain set of circumstances is coming. And so this is where I'm going to get into some of the weeds politically. If you're going to be bothered by me criticizing the left or criticizing the right, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Both sides. If you just wanted to say it was those two sides, both sides are controlled by the same ideas and ideals that that's the thing that's wrong and that's the thing that will save us. Now, no doubt, nobody can deny that in the last couple of years that there has been a long, or I should say a harsh turn towards the left and towards a certain political ideology, whatever you want to call it, that many of us are viewing from the outside and wondering what in the hell is wrong with these people. And we'll get into that. But I don't want to press that point too much right now. Suffice it to say that if you are cognizant enough to be saying, what in the hell is wrong with these people? You still have your wits about you. Congratulations. You've survived so far. Purpose of this channel is twofold. I want to do what I just did, which is to give those of us who still have our cognitive abilities about us, those of us who have not been controlled by the program or whatever you want to call it, those of us who still are aware of our real true surroundings and not this fake world that's been put up in front of us, those of us who are aware I want to give you validation, so to speak, that no, you're not crazy. You're still here. Okay, you're still functioning. All right, stay strong. And the reason why I say stay strong is because what is coming is a massive, and I mean massive, aggressive shift to the right. Now, what do I mean when I say that? I'm not singularly talking about elections, new leaders, things like that. And I'm not even only talking about the the shifting of the moralities and how we act, the culture. I'm not just talking about that. What I'm saying and what I'm seeing coming is as extreme as it has gone in one direction. Many people are going to feel that the only way to fix that is going to be to go to the extreme in the other direction, into a more conservative, religious, right direction. Now, problem is that when you look at some of the things that we're experiencing right now, it would be very easy to fall into the idea that, look, whatever gets us out of this mess is fine by me. Keep in mind, that's how we ended up with the current administration. Okay? Keep in mind, if you want to go by the narrative, by the if you subscribe to the idea that everything was fair and no malfeasance took place, then you must still arrive at the point that the biggest reason why we ended up where we are was because people didn't like the people in charge previously. So they all said, anybody but him, anybody but them, anything to get us out of that mess. We are fixing to see the flip side of that. And I believe that it's pretty much been planned and controlled and manipulated by the same people. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know exactly who it is behind the curtain that's pulling the strings. I think anybody with a half of a third of a quarter of a brain cell left knows that Biden ain't running anything. Okay. He's probably not even tying his own shoes. If you think that man is really running things, you might be too far gone if you can't look at what is going on there and at least admit, okay, somebody else has got to be in control here. The flip side to that is, and this is when I'm saying this, I'm talking to those of you who are cognizant and aware and alert that you can't have drag shows in the kindergarten library. You see what I'm saying? There has to be some point where there's a line where the adults come back into charge and say, all right, this has gone far out of hand. This is this has gone on too far. And for the most part, I'm going to give you what my experience with the right, with the people that have been conservatives, has been. Now, we all know that there's 10 to 20% of the Cocoa Puffs on the left and 10 to 20% of the Cocoa Puffs on the right. It's a equal balance of I'm not so sure about that. Okay. But generally speaking, the people that I know on the right, they're and I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm talking about the people. Generally speaking, they don't want trouble. They will are some of the most permissive people that I know, myself included. So when they say, well, that's what they want to do, it's not hurting me. That's what they want to do, it's not hurting me. That's been my experience outside of the extreme that I've already mentioned. Problem is that that has led us to where we are now. Okay. We gave an inch, they wanted a mile. We gave 2 feet, they wanted another 3 miles. To the point now where all rational thought is gone. The lurch to the left, to me, in my opinion, has been exacerbated and exaggerated to the point that it is not possible that it is organic. And what I mean is that it has been manipulated purposefully by the corporations, by the powers that be, whoever you want to think it is that's really running the show. That lurch to the left has been manipulated purposefully with one thing in mind, and that is so that people will accept a massive, sudden, extreme lurch to the right, simply so that we can have some kind of sanity back into the world. I pose to you that that these people do not believe what they preach. These corporations aren't genuinely woke. These politicians certainly are not genuinely woke. I mean, what you've got Biden saying now versus what he used to say. Come on. Come on. Be a little bit intellectually honest and understand that it's pretty clear if you are looking at things from the middle, which is why I named this channel The Middle. If you're looking at things from the middle, you cannot help but see that both sides are being manipulated in the same fashion, in the same way, by the same people for the same cause, which is control. So, what do? You give the right their savior. With Trump, you take him away. You make it you make it appear as though it was taken away under extenuating circumstances. And if you're not willing to admit that it was at least some oddities there, again, you might be too far gone. You take away the rights of saviors with some extenuating circumstances, and then you have this massive, ridiculous, almost clown like lurch to the left, where most of the rest of us are wondering, what in the hell? How did you get the idea that it's okay to bring your kid who's 6 years old to have a drag queen spread their legs in front of them? There can't be anybody with the rational brain cell that actually think that that's okay. Those people have they're being controlled no differently than the extremists on the right who think that if you're gay, you should be tossed into the pits of hell. It's the same program being run just on two different sides of people. The object of the program is to control the people that are left. And when I say the people that are left, I think you guys can catch the drift of what I'm saying. There's going to be, in the next 5 to 8 years, a lot of people leaving the planet. We'll get into that in subsequent videos. So you take away, you give the right its savior, you take them away under extenuating circumstances. You have this massive lurch to the left that has 60, 70% of the people. Because remember, you have to include the extremists on the right. This is where we get into trouble because us in the middle actually agree with the extremists on the right to an extent. They're saying, what is wrong with those people? So you manipulate that lurch to the left to the point where it is undeniable, unavoidable that, what do we all say? Something has to change. This can't continue. So what's going to happen? You're going to have a massive lurch to the right. But now, not only do you have it being the extremists on the right, you have the middle, and even some who, I mean, you've had the whole Facebook group, Gays Against Groomers. You're going to have a huge acceptance of this massive lurch to the right. And in the beginning, it might look like some sanity is being placed back into the world. The economy might get better. Things might look a little bit like, hey, we're saving the country, we're saving things. And what I'm here to try to do is to get people to understand that those feelings we have, though genuine, are being purposefully injected into us. The things that we are seeing happening, okay, the remaking of all these movies that we grew up with and the retaking of the characters and putting them all in a certain light. It is not, it is the people that are doing it are genuine, but they are being motivated and moved by outside forces and sources that this would not be naturally happening if it wasn't for those sources. So the point of the channel is going to be to try to, I'm going to do my best to not just point out what I'm seeing on the left, but also on the right. One of the first videos I'm going to be doing this week when I start touching on individual subjects is the right's hypocrisy and the abortion debate. I don't want to get into it now, but that's coming. Right is not perfect. I wouldn't consider myself right or left. I'm like probably 60 or 70% of you going, I don't know what I am anymore. I don't think I identify with any of these people. I mean, it's, I voted for Clinton. I voted for Al Gore. But because I voted for Trump, I'm called a Nazi and a homophobic, racist bigot. What? Huh? Look at who he was running against. Are you kidding me? Those of us who are just as confused as everybody else, we're the sane ones. We're the rational ones. And because we're the sane and the rational ones, it's going to be up to us to do the best we can to remain calm. And just as quickly as we have had to speak out against what we think is the Looney Tunes on the left, just as quickly as that happened, within a year or two, if we're not careful, we're going to be having to defend ourselves from the Looney Tunes on the right. And I'm just going to do everything I can to bring awareness to that particular fact. That's the goal of the channel. And that's it. I think that's long enough for today. Now, during the course of the week, I'm going to begin making videos where I take individual stories that are happening. I know that there's people who watched me before that want to know what my take and what my intuitive take is on world events. I'm going to get into that this week. What I can say in a short synopsis is keep in mind 90% of what we see on the news is fake. If you read something, if you see something and go, I don't know, you're probably right. You may not know. Don't confuse not knowing what happened with believing something that didn't happen. Okay. Just because you don't know what is happening doesn't mean that you don't know that what they're telling you is happening ain't right. You follow what I'm saying? So we're going to get into that on this channel. Appreciate it. If you like the video, share the video, hit the subscribe button. It's simple human psychology. The more people that subscribe, the more people that subscribe. If they see me with 8 subscribers, they go, "Who is this guy?" You start getting to 808,000. All of a sudden, it gives me what's the word? Credence. What's the word? I've lost the word. You know what I'm saying. So hit the subscribe button and then leave the word in the comments because I've forgotten it. I'm 51 years old. There's only so much room in the brain. I appreciate it. And I will see you again in the next video real soon.